now these kind of events are more important than ever because like bringing together people, that's where the true magic happens.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. I would start with the first question directly. So looking at today's world, we can see that environmental and health issues are increasingly interconnected. And companies play a crucial role in shaping a more sustainable future. So my question is, how do you see the relationship between those two aspects? Do you believe companies today have a responsibility to actively contribute to solving environmental issues? And if so, how can they do this effectively?
Yeah, 100%. I believe that. I mean, the company that I built is basically tackling this problem, right? That we have to become aware of the fact that as a human, we like to think that we're kind of disconnected from the planet. There's the human and the planet, but honestly, we're just as much part of the ecosystem like anything else, like a fish or a stone or a plant. And as much, we are also affected by the negative outcomes of whatever society has done to the planet, the ecosystem, right? And in that sense, I think it's become very obvious that running a business in a way that it's actually conducive to the environment and actually helping us to reproduce hasn't been the focus, right? I mean, we took the resources, taking them for granted at the same time, and just did what we did. But I think, yeah, the paradigm has to shift here, and companies have to realize that it's not only about offsetting, it's about designing ways to do business that don't harm in the first place and actually help us, as I said, right, reproduce.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So if we look at today's companies, I think it's very clear to see that more and more companies are integrating sustainability into their businesses or into their business strategies. And yeah, to meet both ethical and financial goals. That's basically also what you were just talking about indirectly. And what do you see as the biggest challenges or also opportunities in this area, sustainability?
Yeah, I think, what we see is that ESG as a topic has emerged, right? So making sure that you hit certain goals or you're contributing to environmental, social aspects in life, right? And I think the challenge for a lot of companies is that at their heart, they didn't think of this when building the business. They're building products that are kind of destroying the planet. And now they're coming in and they're somehow trying to kind of erase that by offsetting carbon, right? And doing things on top of their business model. But their business model inherently is flawed, is not designed in a way that it will keep us healthy as humans, keep the planet healthy. And I think that's a big challenge to tackle. And I don't know how honest companies are. I mean, look at Coca-Cola. They're producing plastic bottles like a boss, right? And I would say, how come you're not tackling this problem? Because our rivers, our oceans are full of plastic. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Great point, actually. Yeah, to really tackle the root of the problem, right? Yeah, that's true. So actually, let's shift over to your entrepreneurial journey, because you were just hinting at your startup that you founded in 2024, HERONNE, right? Do you pronounce it like that? Okay, great. Can you briefly explain what your main focus is?
So I was pretty astonished by the fact that 80% of chronic diseases that we see, so infertility or cancer or thyroid issues, are not DNA based. They're basically a result of the exposures you have during your life. So basically the lifestyle you're living. And I actually thought that's crazy. That wasn't a conviction I had. And I don't think that's how we talk about healthcare a lot. Now, what we're doing with HERONNE is basically we're tackling this big topic, which is the exposome. It's the complementary part to the genome. And we're starting with raising awareness and providing diagnostics tools in the area of environmental toxins. So basically, we all use products every day, and those products come with certain great qualities, like cosmetics or food products. They serve us, but they also harm us because there is, for example, endocrine disrupting chemicals in them. So chemicals that act like hormones that can make us sick. And there's little awareness and there is no solutions. And that's what HERONNE does. We bring in diagnostics tools so you know whether your exposure to certain environmental toxins is above thresholds. And then we also give you guidance to understand what you can do to live a healthier lifestyle.
That's incredible. I was thinking the whole time, how did you come up with that idea? So my next question is, what was like the pivotal moment that led you to found HERONNE? Like, I think when you're founding a business, it's often related to like personal reasons or like personal motivations and visions you have. So was there anything like a specific moment that made you realize, oh, I have to build this startup?
100%. So, I mean, before starting HERONNE, I was working at Bain.
Yeah.
And the first pivotal moment for me was that I realized that I need to do something that kind of captures a topic that I have a passion for.
Yeah.
I loved working at Bain. I mean, you work with great talent, you work with great clients, and you have a crazy kind of company in your back that is also supporting you. I mean, it's also very demanding, but it was great. But the topics themselves never really got me. So I decided to quit. And that coincided with a very personal moment in my life where I struggled to get pregnant with my second child. And I went to the doctors. My husband went to the doctors. We had our first kid. It was easy to have that. And I was actually shocked. I was like, okay, how did it come? I don't get pregnant, right? And I also have Hashimoto, so like a thyroid issue.
Right.
And both diagnoses, if you want, if you look into them, the environment plays a big role. It's described that your lifestyle, I mean, some say stress, but also lifestyle environment that you're in has an effect. But then there is nothing more in it. And I was like, okay, so you're telling me that, but there is no solution and no guidance. How come? And that's kind of the moment where I was like taking my own problem and dig for a solution. And that was kind of the starting point, right? Where I understood more and more that there's so many levers in your own life that you can have that are not obvious. And that's also the moment where I thought I want to share that.
That's so amazing. Where do you see HERONNE in like 5 to 10 years?
So we're starting pretty niche right now because we're focusing on plastic chemicals because everyone is aware of microplastic. I think everyone knows by now we have it in all our organs. So we're starting with that. But honestly, I think in 5 to 10 years, HERONNE will be one of the disruptive preventative healthcare players that will put a focus on prevention and that would also display the whole exposome. So I think we'll be a platform where you will be able to see whether based on your exposome, you're living a life that is healthy.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a field with a huge future. That's amazing. So to wrap up the first part to the conversation, I would love to know what advice would you give to us young people, our audience, who want to build their own business, have their own startup?
I'm super thankful that I had my learning experience in mature companies that helped me grow. But I honestly think being more connected with my own intuition a bit earlier in my career would have been great. Because I think, honestly, right now, there's a lot of insecurities and uncertainties when you're building a business in the current environment, right? And I have to rely a lot on my intuition. And I realize how strong that of a strength is, right? And I think when I was more junior, I did a lot what was expected or what people thought would be good for me. And there was a point in my career where I decided to leave a corporate and because they didn't want to give me a sabbatical and kind of didn't know what I was going to do, but I wanted to go to South Africa. And I did that. And it was that moment that I then started working at Bain after, which for my career was great. And that was the moment where I realized, okay, if I follow my dreams, my passions, one door might be shut, but there is really, it's so cliche, but a lot of doors do open and you have to kind of go for that.
That's so true. But what would be your advice for young people who feel like, oh, I'm not following my dreams, I'm not following my passions, I don't even know what my passions are? Because I think actually in today's world, like today's time, it's extremely hard to find what your passion is, because there are so many different things. Also, like so many different things to study. How do you know where you want to go? So what would be your advice? How to find out that's what I want to do?
I mean, I think it's a mix. I think that's the work that you have to do, right? Finding your why. I think that's something that is so obvious and is talked about so much, that if you want to have a thriving career for yourself, right? Like not only on your CV, but something that you actually are going to be proud of and are going to enjoy the ride, the why is super important. So I think kind of putting in the work and understanding and answering that question is important. At the same time, sometimes it's hard and you don't have that. And that's a time where I think kind of immerging yourself in lots of opportunities, kind of doing it head down, deliver, like, and kind of see what it does to you is the counterpart to it, right? So on the one hand, know yourself well and follow that. On the other side, immerse yourself in opportunities given by others, given by other companies or people, and kind of seeing what feels right and wrong is going to be part of the answer.
Also to get out there, to see the world and meet people, to network, right? I think that's the most crucial point. Yeah, true. And it's also funny because at WTU we say, find your why, find your W. So that's what you just mentioned. It's funny. Yeah. So thank you. Now I'd like to ask you some quick questions. So we shift over to the quick 3. The most important quality for a successful startup?
Curiosity.
Good one. One word that describes your journey as an entrepreneur?
Ambiguity. Oh God, ambiguity. How do I say that? Ambiguity. Ambiguity. That's it. Ambiguity.
So what are you looking forward to the most at IdeaLab 2024?
Meeting talents.
Right. Thank you so much. That was amazing.